It's not a message. But now, whenever you see all the papers and everything, the Hebrew papers, Orthodox papers, it's full of the tira, the passing of Rav Steinman. Maybe just a message which Rav Steinman was giving over to our generation. I want to go from a pasuk. You know, a man from the house of Levi went and he took the bas Levi, the daughter of Levi. Vatah ha'isha v'teiled ben. V'teira oisai ki toivu. The woman became pregnant, she gave birth to a child, and she saw that the child is toiv, is good. Which mother doesn't see that a child is good? Any mother looks at a child and doesn't think he's good. So what's the Torah telling you? Every mother loves a child and she's sure he's good. So Rashi answers this question. Rashi says, Kishenoilad nisbale habayis kuloi oilo. I don't know if at night as well, so they couldn't sleep at night. They could get it dark anymore. To sleep not in Moshe's room, Moshe Rabbeinu's room. It would seem that it's an Ur Ruchni, not the Ur of this world. They felt something inner, an inner light, an inner sense of truth. The whole house was tight. Vatitzbeneu shloisha yerochim. We find here on the word ki toivu vatitzbeneu. I don't know if it's a coincidence, if it's not a coincidence, but they're putting together this ki toivu. Where do we have exactly these words ki toiv, which is a proof to Rashi's drasha? The beginning of Ma'aser Bereishis. Vayar Elokim es ha'or ki toiv. That's the light of truth. Vayavdel Elokim bein ha'or bein ha'choshech. And this light, Hashem said it doesn't fit in this world, and He put it away. Gonas, as Rashi says, Vayavdel doesn't mean He separated it. He was Gonas oisai l'tzadikim l'asabamai. And now it means that even this light wasn't in this world. Here there's a remez that this Moshe Rabbeinu, the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu, brought with him this, accompanied him. His neshama was coming from the world where there's this light, and somehow or other it went together with him. He pulled with him some of this light. As he came to this world, he came together with this light and he brought it into the house. But Titzbenehu, and she hid him. Parsha Pshat is Titzbenehu, but we know we have a pasuk again. It's hard to believe that it's a coincidence. We have a pasuk, Morav tuvcha asher tzafanta lirei'echa pa'alta lachosim bach. Morav, how multiply, how plenty. This is a light of plentiness. Tuvcha asher, where is this tuv? This the good that Hashem waits to bestow upon the tzaddikim. Where is it? It's tzofan, it's hidden. Morav tuvcha shetzafanta, He hid it. For who did He hid it? Lirei'echa, to those that fear Him, that have yirat shamayim. Pa'alta, you created it, lachosim bach, those that trust in you and believe in you. But it says that this light is tzofan, like you have a Beit HaKnesset, not here in Yerushalayim. That's the Beit HaKnesset is called Oyer HaTzofan. Somebody knows the Shchuna Oyer HaTzofan. Minyanim did the whole time. The light that's tzofan. And here it says, V'teira tiki toivu, v'titzbeneu. Moshe was tzofan. He came with a light that's tzofan, and he was tzofan. He was hidden. But she saw, v'layachla oid l'hatzpin. Hatzpin is an interesting thing. She couldn't hide him more. Because it says, and Chazal say that Moshe Rabbeinu was born after people knew that she was pregnant, and they would check when the Jewish women were pregnant to take when she has to give birth and then come and search for the child. But she gave birth at 6 months, so he was like a premature baby. So they waited 9 months. At 9 months, after 3 months, in 9 months they came already checking.
Gestapo.
Yeah. Yes. So that's when they put him in the yard. But it's interesting because let's make a cheshbon. Moshe Rabbeinu was born. Which day was Moshe Rabbeinu born? Zayin Adar. So let's count 3 months from Zayin Adar. Let's see what it comes out. So you have Zayin Nisan, Zayin Iyah, and then it finishes on Vav Sivan, Zayin Sivan. It's the day of Kabbalah Satayr. So the day that Moshe Rabbeinu, it's fascinating. The day that Moshe Rabbeinu was put in the Yair is the day that he was atid in the future maybe it was from Hashgacha, divine providence, that this Schus should stand over him and save him. Let's go further, the pasuk, and it says, when they put him in the yard, the pshutai of the pasuk is, the simple meaning of the pasuk is that his sister Miriam, true, but it's very interesting. There's a pasuk at the Chazal Dashan that's going on Torah. Imri lechachma achoisiat. Say to the chachma that the mechachma is your sister. Like you feel a closeness to your sister, be close to the Torah. Imri lechachma achoisiat. Call the chachma achoisiat. I'll tell you a story just to go up for a second. When they were discussing whether there was a decree from the government to put in the yeshivas the study of limudei chayil, and there was a discussion whether to put it into the yeshiva or not. And the Gedolim had like today, they had an asifa getting together in Europe, yes. And the Chafetz Chaim came to the asifa. He didn't know. Rameh Simcha wasn't aware of who the godless, the great Chafetz Chaim. And he asked the Chafetz Chaim, "What are you doing here in the city?" And the Chafetz Chaim said, "My sister's going to have an operation, so I came for the operation of my sister." And what did the Chafetz Chaim mean? He meant that when we're cutting up the Torah, when we put the limudei chayil, this limud in the yeshivas, it's going to cut up the Torah. They said, "My sister's having an operation. I came to be by the operation, to give the strength that one shouldn't agree to this decree." So that's the. So here, let's go back to the pasuk. About this itself.
Or recording of the Bible.
Yeah, no Rabbi Yom. So better not to go into that now. But Teitzav achoisai. So achoisai means the Torah. The Torah was standing mirachik. What's going to be? If Moshe Rabbeinu won't be saved now in the Yamsuf, what will be with the Torah? The Torah was standing waiting. What's going to be with the what's going to Mayosalai, not to Moshe, to the Torah? What will be with the Torah if Moshe Rabbeinu won't be saved? This is a remez of the pasuk, and it's a drash of Chazal. Anyway, but let's get back. We began with the Oyer Hatzofim. The message of Rav Steinman. He had many messages to our generation, but let's take one which is very much. We live in a generation. Well, we're absorbed. There are many messages, but they all go around one thing. I'll begin the other way around. Rav Steinman lived in this world physically, but he wasn't in this world. This is the chidush. Rav Steinman lived in this world as if he's in the other world. It was so clear to him, the Olam ha'emes, the world of truth. He lived in a world of emes, in a world of sheker, and everything he measured in terms of Olam haba. He wasn't in this world, the Kitzur. He lived in a house where if you read, wasn't painted for 50, 60 years, nothing there except his svara. I mean, mamish mitak, kisei v'shulchan, nothing. He wasn't impressed with this world. You could say he was a comedian. Litzonis, he was a late son. But his late son not. He had a very good sense of humor. But his whole sense of humor was aimed at making litzanut of this world, of Olam Hazeh. He made litzanut of the Yetzer Hara, and he made litzanut of this world. They asked him who was his Rebbe in his derech. He said he had one Rebbe. His Rebbe was the Yetzer Hara. How was his Rebbe the Yetzer Hara? Whatever the Yetzer Hara told him, he understood he has to do the opposite. So the Yetzer Hara guy, try it for 1 hour, see how it works. Not so simple. To do the opposite of the Yetzer Hara. Usually what we do is, it's not nice to say we're listening to the Yetzer Hara, we immediately have a Dvar Torah. Why what the Yetzer Hara is telling us is the word, the will of the Torah. So we're not doing it, it's the will of the Torah. Anyway, how does it say? Chazal say that people can bluff themselves very, very much. Make a Dvar Torah. So now, what is this world? How's the success in this world? The more famous you are, the more important you are. The higher your salary will be, the more money you'll get paid per hour, the more respect you'll get from others. Pirusum. Fame is very much kavod, is one of the greatest yitzrei hara in this world. And it's a positive motivating factor as well. Many people, if there wouldn't be this Yetzer Hara of kavod, I don't know if we wouldn't have anything. We'd be still in the jungle. It's this Yetzer Hara that makes creativity and makes and everything, all competition and everything. The whole world turns around the Yetzer Hara of kavod. But it's a Yetzer Hara kavod. So his message was that tzniut. The Navi says, Higid lecha adam. He tell the adam ma toiv ma Hashem doresh mincha. What's right and what does Hashem really want? So it says there three things. So at the end of one of the Haftarahs, avas. Higid lecha adam ma toiv ma Hashem doresh mincha. Ki'im asois mishpat, to do justice, what's correct. Avas chesed is kindness to others. And these two things should be, the third thing goes on both together. The hetzner leches im elokecha. What?
More humbly than
It's much more than humbly. Hetzner tzanua is hidden. It's not, you do it for the truth and not to impress others. Hetzner leches, to be matzniah, to hide it, to go solitary, in solitude with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzniut. Tzniut is the opposite of pirusum. And here I get back. Where was the oir? Nismale kol habayis oir. The oir was in the bayis. Where's the oir tzofun? In what a person does, which is hidden. In other words, it can become a means to an end. If you do a mitzvah, you do a good deed, but you enjoy the honor that you get from others, or the impression you make on others, so the mitzvah becomes, so to speak, secondary, a means to the honor. So it's not a spiritual act. It's again something of Olam Hazeh. A mitzvah is something of the world to come. What you do, which is tzanua, that you're doing for Hashem. Hashem is tzanua. We don't see Hashem. What you do, which is hidden, that's connected with the oir hatzofan. That's the oir hatoiv. What is tzofan, that's where the oir is. One tastes the or in what's hidden, because that's for the truth. And so the Rambam writes that we have a mitzvah, the greatest mitzvah from the mitzvahs outside of learning Torah is what's called Kiddush Hashem, to sanctify Hashem's name. The Nikdashti V'sof B'nai Yisrael. The Rambam writes, if a person does a mitzvah, or he refrains himself from an Aveirah, but for no reason, there's nothing stopping him from doing the Aveirah, nothing pushing him to do the mitzvah. He only does it because the emes is the emes, because that's the emes. He has no other ulterior motive, like Yosef HaTzadik, that prevented himself from an Aveirah with Eshes Poitifera. That's called Kidesh Shem Shamayim Baseisa. It's called that he sanctified Hashem's name hidden. And any act that you do b'tzniut, that becomes outside of the mitzvah itself, it becomes Kiddush Shem Shamayim. That was his message. But it fits with in Olam Hazeh, success of Olam Hazeh, Pirsum, external, in this world go hand in hand together. Olam Haba, something which is Tsanua, that goes hand in hand together with Olam Haba. That's in something Tsanua. There's a book from Rabbi Yankiv Galinsky, one of the Darshan of Yerushalayim. He said that there's a Gemara in Brachos. Rabbi Yochanan came to visit, I think he said over the name of Rav Shach. Rabbi Yochanan came to visit Rabbi Elazar was sick, a Talmud of his. And at some point in the visit it says, Rabbi Yochanan revealed, he took off, he undid his shirt, Goli Ledari, and he peeled off the sleeve of the arm, and the house filled with fire. The Nofel Nahurin fell a light. So they asked, Rabbi Yochanan, the hand, the uncovering of the hand had light. Rabbi Yochanan himself was there. There's a light coming from his face. Chachmas Adam Tayyapanav. What was more in the hand? So Rav Shach said, what's revealed doesn't give light. The light is in what's hidden. When Rabbi Yochanan uncovered something that's hidden, that's where the light was. And I go back again to this pasuk. Vatera oisai ki toivu vatitzbenei. The nisbale habayis oiver. The oir is in what's tzofim. That was one of his messages. That truth, that in olam ha'emes, here in this world, we measure in terms of something that's famous, that seems important, something that's not famous or not known b'chlal, doesn't make an impression. In olam ha'emes, they have a different yardstick of measuring. And this is very important for a person himself. A person very often tends to fall into the trap of measuring his deeds according to how others look at him. And this, if one is measuring in terms of emes, it's absolutely irrelevant. To the contrary, it doesn't make any difference. I think he made a gewaldige, a fantastic Kiddush Hashem, Rabbi Steiner made an enormous impression on the secular world, because it was like total his tzavor, his last will and testament, where he said, you have this person coming, almost 1 million people come to his levaya, and he says, don't put no dog, don't announce my levaya, it's enough for me if 10 people come to the levaya. Don't, somebody coming, the hundreds of thousands of people coming, don't make it famous, and it's enough for me if 10 people come to the levaya. Don't bury me with rabbanim, bury me with simple people. All this is in the tzavor. So I think it made an unbelievable. This is a person. He says it's not what we do here, not what the world does here. The world upstairs isn't dependent on what people do here. What people say is important here, people say is not important. They have a different yardstick and different measuring. And this was so clear to him that it was a message that think in terms of Hashem, things are different. Hashem measures in different ways. Hashem doesn't measure. How does the Navi say? Loi machshavosai machshavoseichem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. The Navi says the name of Hashem. My thoughts are not your thoughts. I have different yardstick. I have truth is measured in different yardstick than the yardstick of this world. So I just wanted to say something over from connected with the Parsha. We have every week we have coming Shabbos. For a minute about Shabbos, because it's connected with the first pasuk. Maybe you know what? We'll learn the first pasuk together. The pasuk tells us. It looks like the pasuk is saying a double language. The first pasuk in the Parsha says, "Ve'ele Shmooz b'nei Yisrael aboyim mitzrayim es Yaakov ish u'beisay boyim." What is the difference? B'nei Yisrael, Beis Yaakov, Yaakov ish u'beisay. It's all the same. On top of it, all of this is already written before. What's the pasuk saying? What is it saying? There are two. Yaakov and Yisrael are two names. That's the whole pshat. Yaakov was called Yaakov because of something, a physical act. Something with the guf. Yisrael was a battle that he won with a malach. You can't have the guf of a person can't fight with a malach. If it's a Muhammad Gashmi to succumb the guf of Yankov, in 1 second the malach succumbs the body of Yankov. So if we're speaking here about a battle between Yankov and a malach, it must be a Muhammad Ruchni, a spiritual battle between the neshama of Yaakov. So Yaakov and Yisrael are referring to the, like the person is compounded, the guf of Yaakov and the neshama of Yaakov. The name Yisrael is on the neshama, the name Yaakov is on the guf. The beginning of the shibud in Mitzrayim, the Golus went in stages. We have in last week's Parsha, Lama Parsha Zu Stuma. This Parsha is not, there's no middle, there's nothing a hefsik, there's no division in the letters of the Torah, there's no stop with parchment not written. Because to tell us that Kivon Shenifta Yankiv Nistemu Einayim V'libam Sheyisrael Mitzavas HaShibud. The eyes and the heart of Am Yisrael became stuffed up from the beginning of the Shibud. The stuffing up of the eyes and the heart, this is not talking about physical avodah. The heart and the eyes stuffed up, this is something spiritual. That what does it mean? You don't see the other one. You're not seeing and are not sensing or feeling another person. I have a proof. That's the beginning of the Shibud. Because the shibud, the definition of the shibud is the extinguishing of the light of the neshama in the person. That's shibud. Eile Shmooz, because shibud, what is shibud? What is galus? Galus means that there's external obstacles to fulfill the mission, the purpose. Every person has a mission in this world. Every person has a special identity. What is his mission connected with his neshama? And the name, the neshama, by the way, the name of a person, a name in Torah represents the mission. That's what a name is. The name is what's individual about this object. The different is the name. The name is to identify the specificness of this object from another object. The specific traits of a specific object is its special character because it's special purpose. Every object has a purpose. Every created. And the name of a person is connected with his individuality. His individuality is in his neshama. I think, perhaps, and his individual, that this is hinted in the word neshama itself. Excuse me, the center of the word neshama is shame. And the outer letters make hain. Nun and hay, hain. What does hain mean? Hain means hain yiras Hashem chachma. The word hain, the Gemara says in Greek, is achad. Hain is achad. Hain am levadet yishkai. What's achad? He's one. His uniqueness. Neshama is every person. Keshem shepartzufeim shaynos. Like everybody, no two people have the same face. Kach deyoseim shaynos. No two people think exactly the same. Because the ponim, the word ponim in Hebrew, comes from the word panim. It's exactly the opposite of the word face in English, by the way. Face in English, like you have Facebook, is the outer, what you see outside. It's the face of the object. It's the outer, and the word, so it's external. And in Hebrew, panim is from the word panim, what's inside, the opposite. Because the panim is the place. If I see somebody's back, I can know nothing about his character. If I see his foot, I can know nothing about his character. But if I see his face, I know if he's happy, if he's sad, if he's worrying. Everything's expressed in the face. Because the face is where the inner neshama shines out. And why? And that's why no two people have exactly the same face. Because no two people have exactly the same neshama. And no two people have exactly the same way of thinking, which is the source of the neshama. In this same way, it says, it's not the same, the face of a person on Shabbos, like the face, if we're on that madrega, we're on that level. Ein a doime panav shel adam on Shabbos, the panav shel adam on the weekdays. Shabbos is panim chadoshot, a new face, bolakam. What does it mean? We won't read it panim, not a new face. Pnim chadoshot, a new innerness came on Shabbos, because Asram tells us that there's a concept of a neshama yesera, an extra neshama on Shabbos. So the shame is the neshama, and the shame, that's where the galus is. Because galus means that there's external obstacles which are preventing, when a person is mishubad, his obligations, means he's not now capable of fulfilling his full tachlit, his full mission. When we say Am Yisrael is in Golus, that means that Am Yisrael is now in a state, for all these years, it can't fulfill its full mission in this world. What is the mission of Am Yisrael? To announce to the world the presence of the Borei Olam, of the Creator. Golus prevents Am Yisrael of expressing their mission of saying testimony to the existence of the Creator in this world. So we go back to the pasuk, Shmooz b'nei Yisrael haboim Mitzrayim, where the pasuk is telling us the inner, what is galus? Where is the nekuda? Where's the point that galus touches? Galus touches the shame of the person. The Shmooz, that's what's in galus. The galus touches. And specifically, Am Yisrael has two names, Yisrael and Yaakov. Yisrael is their spiritual side, and Yaakov is their gashmistic side, the guf. Now, first they were mishubad, this galus influenced them spiritually. Nistam libo beinayim. What does it mean, Nistamein Ein B'Libo? Let's go the other way around. Moshe Rabbeinu is born. What is the first thing of Pula B'chiri, an act of free choice that the Torah tells us about Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu was certainly a big tzaddik and did many things in his life. But the Torah tells us one thing about Moshe Rabbeinu. So that must symbolize who Moshe Rabbeinu is. And always the first, everything goes after the first. What is the first thing that the Torah tells us about Moshe Rabbeinu? Let's see. What does the Torah tell us about Moshe Rabbeinu? We'll read Rashi. Fascinating. Vayigdal Moshe. No, a child is born. It's very nice. The child doesn't have free will. Vayigdal. Oh, Moshe became big. What does it mean big? He became by mitzvah, Godel. Now he has das. He has free will. What does he do with this free will? Remember that Moshe Rabbeinu is growing up in the palace. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that he's a Jew. His mother brought him up, he nursed him. But he could have chose in the palace. I'm sure there were nice swimming pools, and they put it modern terms, and ping pong and all sorts of sport, fine pleasures. And he knew that his brothers are enslaved. He could have chosen, I'm here in the palace. The Jews are in a bad state. I can choose to be an Egyptian. I'm being brought up with the princess, the daughter of Pari. But Moshe Rabbeinu has a different approach. Vayetze, he knew that he's a Jew. Vayetze el Echo. He went out to his brothers. And what did he do when he went out to his brothers? Which was itself a greatness. It was an enormous greatness. Anybody else without a sense of conscience would have chosen to deny his roots and say, I'm being an Egyptian and finish. What do I need to identify then? I need to be part of this Torah. Vayetze el Echov, vayar b'sivlotam. What does it mean, vayar b'sivlotam? He went out because he wanted to sense their suffering. In the palace, he can't sense their suffering. So he went out to be part of them in their suffering. Rashi says, vayar b'sivlotam. Of course, if he went out, he saw b'sivlotam. What is vayar b'sivlotam? He went out to be with them. All right. What's vayar? Says Rashi. Nosan Einov v'libai v'yoismeitzer aleihem. He put his eyes and his heart to suffer together with them, to imagine and to feel and to be part of their suffering. That's what the Torah tells us about Moshe Rabbeinu. If this is the first step of the redemption, in other words, the first step of redemption is the first step of the creating of the future Redeemer, Moshe Rabbeinu. What was the first step that created, the first step and spiritual step that created the future Goyal, Redeemer of Klal Yisrael, to bring us the Torah? The midah, the trait of sensing and feeling the difficulty of others. This tells us the first step of Golus was, Rashi says, Einav v'libai, Nistemu eineihem v'libam shel Yisrael, mitzoras hashibud. Each one involved in his own separate life. Not sensing the difficulty of others. That's stimas einayim v'lei. That's Golus. Because, let's go back to the difference between an animal and a man. The neshama, an animal, no animal can sense the other animal. The animal sees everything from its own viewpoint. And then we have to say, but without avodah, a person is also like that. He lives the other one only as much as the other one is concerned. He doesn't see the other one. This is a koyach of the neshama, to be able to see somebody else and picture what a situation is, not in connection with you yourself. How does it go? I once heard a very beautiful gematria. Two people get together. Every person usually sees everything from his view. But that's if you have a difference of opinion, because there's two sides. The word for side in Hebrew, what's the word for side? Tzad. Very good. The gematria of side, tzad, 94. 94. But if I have the capacity to see somebody else's tzad, that means I can see two tzadim. It's always two sides. One side is only one. 2 sides is how much? 188. That's called a pikeach. There's such a thing as called in Hebrew, there's a pikeach, like pikeach Hebrew. Pikeach is a clever, who's a pikeach? That he has seichel? Inside, pikeach. Pikeach is a, pikeach Ibrim, you make a broch in the morning, pikeach Ibrim, he opens up our eyes to see. So what we're saying now, it doesn't mean to see, just the other thing. Pikeach Ibrim, not to be blind, to be able to see the other one. Not to be nista me'einei v'libam. The true pikeach Ibrim is to be able to sense somebody else. 2 sides, to be able to see 2 sides, that's pikeach. Pikeach is the gematria twice tzad. To see 2 sides, that's to have open eyes, that's insight. That's to be blind. That's a human quality. That's a gift from Hashem. And then it goes on, what happens when 2 people that have an argument, but both of them have this meter? When 2 pikrim meet, so then you have pikeach plus pikeach. So let's go on. 188 and 188. 376. Shalom. Isn't that beautiful? It's unbelievable. I'll call upon him. So Golus, the beginning of Golus is Nistimu when each one is involved. When the Tzorah makes that each one, because of his pain, is involved in himself, and he only sees his pain, this creates enormous competition, division between the people, and that's spiritual Golus. And the Goyal and Moshe Rabbeinu had to have exactly the opposite of this trait. Moshe Rabbeinu was Noson Eino V'Liboy Liyos Meitze B'Tzoras Echad. He put didn't go by itself. It's not because he had external mercy for 1 minute and then forgot it. He worked on having this mercy. He had to pull himself out of the pleasures of the palace that he was growing up in, and go out to his brothers and make himself part of his brothers by choice, and work on feeling and experiencing what they are suffering. This is what made him Moshe Rabbeinu to bring the Torah. You know that in the Chazal, the whole Torah is called in Shas. When we bring a pasuk from the Torah, it doesn't say Oma Hashem, and it doesn't say Oma Raisa. What's the word that the Torah uses for Torah? Oma Rachmana. When it brings a pasuk, Oma Rachmana. Who's Rachmana? What does the word Rachmana mean? Rachamim, the merciful one. The whole Torah is Rachamim. Moshe Rabbeinu with Midas HaRachamim became the Shaliach, the messenger to bring the Torah. This is part of perhaps the statement of Chazal, Derech Eretz Kodma L'Torah. The Derech Eretz of Kodma L'Torah is to be able to sense the other human being, to feel the pain of another human being.
How come doesn't Nevi'im snitch on Parah that when he killed
We always have free will, and that's what the Torah is telling us, that even before the Torah was given, and even before Am Yisrael was born, there were tzaddikim in Am Yisrael. There was the extreme of tzidkis, like Moshe Rabbeinu, and there was a dozen Rabbeinu. That means, and for sure in every generation, that this is that part of Klal Yisrael, like it's built into Klal Yisrael to have a Moshe Rabbeinu, it is built into Klal Yisrael to have as well a dozen Rabbeinu. It's part of Klal Yisrael. Yeah. There are Rishonim. Dozen Aviram was, and if in the first generation, it means there'll always be dozen Avirams which will attack the leaders and say about the leaders that the leaders have the opposite of what the leaders have. You know what dozen Aviram said to Moshe Rabbeinu? The Torah says that Moshe Rabbeinu was a Ish Moshe, Anav Ma'oid Mikol Adam Apnei Adam. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says testimony to the humility of Moshe Rabbeinu. And what does doesn't Aviram say to Moshe Rabbeinu? Madua this, the whole Kol Ha'eda Kulam Kadashim, all are holy people. Why do you, Madua Tisnasei Akal Hashem? Why are you making yourself more important than the others? Why are you putting yourself over? Tisnasei, Hisnasut is, what are you making yourself over the other, making more important than others? They attacked Moshe Rabbeinu in the midah that he was mostly, that the Torah says testimony that he was totally clean of such a midah. They put on him midot that he has no connection with. And so, this is the Torah tells us to this is for generations. The people will attack tzaddikim and say about the tzaddikim things that the tzaddikim are totally, and where the tzaddik is the most clean, That'll attack the tzaddik and say things about him. In every generation, there's a dosan v'avira. In every generation, which will attack the tzaddik, which will attack the greatest tzaddik. So that's to go back to the pasuk. Oh, so late, I didn't realize that. What? I wanted to talk about Shabbos. I'll tell you why. Well, I'll finish in 2 minutes because I see the time. I didn't realize the time. The Baal HaTurim says something fascinating. We got out of Mitzrayim. The schus to take us out of Mitzrayim, and this is for the Gula as well. We have 2 mitzvahs which are called bris. We have mitzvahs, but not every mitzvah is called a bris. We find the word bris in the Torah on 2 mitzvahs. Which are the 2 mitzvahs? I'm giving you this as a riddle. You tell me. What? In the Torah, we find the word bris connected specifically with 2 mitzvahs. Which ones? Brit Milah, obviously. Everybody calls it a bris. And then there's another one which people don't call it a bris, but it's written in the Torah.
Covenant to peace.
The covenant.
Covenant to peace.
No, but that's not in the Torah.
The bris of
In the
heart?
Torah.
Is that the Pesach?
No. But we say it every Shabbos and Shachris and Tefillah. V'sham Ruben Yisrael HaShabbos. Bris Olam, Beini, Ubein B'nai Yisrael. So Shabbos is a mitzvah bris, like bris milah. And we continue and we say, Ubimnuchato, Lo Yishkenu, Arelim. Somebody who's an oral, a guy who's an oral, he can't enjoy the Shabbos. Ubimnuchato, Lo Yishkenu, Arelim. Shabbos and Brit Milah go hand in hand together. And now these 2 mitzvahs are written on this pasuk. The Baal HaTurim shows us something unbelievable. B'nai Yisrael aboyim Mitzrayim. Look at the last letters of these 4 words. B'nai Yisrael aboyim Mitzrayim. So you have Yud Lamed, B'nai Yisrael, the last letter, Yud, and then Lamed. That's the center letters of the word Milah. And then Haboim Mitzrayim, the last letter of Haboim, Mem, and Hey. That's the first letter, the last letter of Milah. So we have here Milah. Oh, maybe it's a coincidence. Then it begins, let's go on. Es Yaakov Ish. So let's look at the last letters. Es is tough. Yaakov is Beis. Ish is Shin. Make those 3 letters backwards. Shabbos. Those are 2 brisim. B'schus Milah and Shabbos, Am Yisrael was redeemed from Mitzrayim. Because when they had the Korban Pesach, they had to have Milah. Was mixed the dam Pesach with the dam Milah. And Moshe Yismach Moshe, when we say in the morning on Shabbos, Yismach Moshe b'matnas chelkai. What's matnas chelkai? That Moshe chose. He went to Paro that they should not work on Shabbos, so they kept Shabbos in Mitzrayim. And b'schus Shabbos and Milah, they were redeemed from Mitzrayim. The Rosh Tevis of Shabbos and Milah makes shame. Shabbos, Milah, shame. Identity. That's the identity of a Jew. If a guy keeps Shabbos, he's chayav misa. It's a bris between Am Yisrael and Kodesh Baruch Hu. He's not allowed. He's not connected with Shabbos. If a guy makes Brit Milah, he's not called a mohel. He could be Mekayim, he could fulfill other mitzvahs. But if a person makes a nether, it says in the Mishnah in the Doran, he makes a nether that he's not going to benefit from Arelim, from those which are not Gemalt. And there's this guy, his father made him a bris milah because it was and so he's not allowed to benefit from him because a guy who's Gemalt is also called an Orel. It doesn't help. And the opposite, a Jew that's not Gemalt, is called a Ben Bris because it's something inherent. So that's the identity of the Jew, these 2 mitzvahs. Because these 2 mitzvahs represent what is the identity of the Jew? The connection of the Jew with HaKadosh Baruch Hu through his neshama. And the Milah brings out the neshama, this reveals the neshama, and Shabbos, like we see, is the neshama Yisrael, the resting from Olam Hazeh. These 2 mitzvahs represent the connection of Am Yisrael with Olam Haba. Kol Yisrael yesh lam chelik Olam Haba. We have the pasuk about the receiving of the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu says, the Torah is not in heaven, lema, mi yale lanu hashemayim, who will go up to the heaven and bring the Torah to us. And it's fascinating. This I'm going to finish just with this. Mi yale lanu hashemayim. Look at the first letters of these 4 words. Mi Yale Lonu Hashemayim. What are the first letters? No. Mi Yale Lonu Hashemayim.
Shalom.
Mila.
You're right, Hashemayim. But the first letter of these four words, Mi is Mem,
First letter of each word.
Yale Yud, Lonu Lamed, Hashemayim, Hashemayim, Mila. And he doesn't have the vowel show. In order.
Yeah.
But let's look at the last letters of these four words. Let's see the last letters. Mi, Yud, Kei Vav Kei, he said it.
Oh.
So Mila connects us with our soul, which is from heaven, and through our soul we're connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Shabbos as well connects us, and that's the identity of a Jew. So the Shem went to Mitzrayim, but it's the schus of the Shem, Shabbos Mila, which took us out of Mitzrayim, and it's hinted in the Pasuk.
Wow.